Meet Kurt Olson. 6 years ago, he was a little-known lawyer who primarily worked on product liability cases representing big companies who were being sued for issues like asbestos causing cancer and the impact of rupturing breast implants. So all good things he was defending there. But after the 2020 election, Kurt Olson became one of the many conspiracy theorist lawyers who got Trump's attention by repeatedly claiming the election was stolen. And Kurt Olson even joined Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton's failed lawsuits to overturn the election results, despite little to no experience in election-related cases. Now, when that lawsuit failed, Kurt Olson kept at it. He started harassing then-acting Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen, even showing up at DOJ headquarters trying to convince him the election was rigged. In 2022, when Republican Arizona candidate for governor Kari Lake decided to deny the results of her election loss, well, it was Kurt Olson who she chose to represent her in her lawsuit against the state. Olson not only failed to prove that Kari Lake's election had been stolen, he actually got sanctioned by the Arizona Supreme Court for making arguments that were, quote, unequivocally false. Now, none of that seemed to bother Donald Trump, who made Olson one of his campaign lawyers in 2024. According to the New York Times, even among Trump allies, Olson was considered something of a fringe figure, and that is saying something. And today we have just learned that that fringe conspiracy theorist court-sanctioned lawyer is the person who provided the basis for the FBI's raid of Fulton County's election offices. According to a newly unsealed affidavit, the FBI criminal investigation originated from a referral sent by Kurt Olson, presidentially appointed Director of Election Security and Integrity. Yes, that's his title now. And Kurt Olson is far from the only conspiracy theorist with his fingerprints all over this raid. The affidavit also refers to election denier Clay Parrick, another discredited election denier who is affiliated with none other than Mike Lindell of MyPillow fame. And just yesterday, ProPublica reported that the FBI may have also relied on information from conservative researcher Kevin Moncla, yet another discredited election denier who once pleaded guilty to misdemeanor voyeurism charges for secretly filming guests in his home bathroom. Very creepy. I mean, all of this would almost be funny. It is not. If it weren't for the fact that the Trump administration is now using these crank conspiracy theories to actually seize the ballots from a legitimate election. Joining us now is Preet Bharara, former U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York and the host of the excellent podcast, Stay Tuned with Preet. Okay, Preet, you were a lawyer, an excellent one, an experienced one. I am not. But I just walked through, because I think this is so eye-popping, where this information came from, the history of election denialism, of the people behind it. And I think for most lay people, it's like, how on earth did the judge issue a warrant to them for this information? Or not to them, but yeah. I mean, so how did they? Were you surprised by it at all, reading all the information?
Yeah, no, a little bit. And by the way, you're half a lawyer, if not three-quarters of a lawyer, so don't sell yourself short.
I only play a quarter one on TV, but you're a real one.
Look, on the one hand, this was not a unilateral action taken by the Justice Department. There is a federal judge who had to weigh in and presumably, read the affidavit and found probable cause. But on the other hand, as you laid out in the intro, there are lots of red flags here, including the credibility of the people who are the referrers, including the fact that some of the claims that are at issue in the affidavit and in connection with the search have been litigated again and again and again. Overall, not with respect to the affidavit, but the overall search, the fact that the DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, was present, even though she does not have domestic law enforcement authority, is another red flag. But if you read the affidavit, it does not state, as many search warrant affidavits do, that there is absolutely overabundant evidence of a crime that has been committed, and they're just searching for fruits of the crime or contraband in connection with the crime. Some of the language of the affidavit is fairly mild, asking the question, was there intentionality here? There's no evidence in support of intentionality here. A lot of the affidavit is spent talking about whether or not there was a crime of a violation of record-keeping requirements, which is a far cry from overturning the election.
So one of the things, obviously, this itself is a concern, the fact that they have these ballots, the fact that Tulsi Gabbard was there, as you just referenced. It's also, it's kind of a win for the Trump administration that they were able to get this warrant, that they were able to get these ballots. And to me, it probably indicates they may try it again. What should election officials, what should states be doing to prepare for that possibility? Give them some free legal advice.
Well, look, if there's a court-authorized search warrant, I tell clients all the time, whether you think it's wise or not, or justified or not, you have to comply. So my first, being a law and order guy, when I was in the government and also in private practice, you got to comply. But then you have lawyers who can challenge things. Look, I think there is a real concern that he's going to try again and again. Look, in some ways, this is the umpteenth attempt at trying to cast aspersions on the 2020 election in Georgia and elsewhere. And, you know, there was reporting that there was, you know, it's different, but parallel, a search for, not through a court-authorized search warrant, but through other means, you know, ballot information in Puerto Rico. And for whatever reason, as your viewers know very, very well, Donald Trump will not let the election of 2020 go. And so wherever there is a place where they think they can make the barest minimum showing to go in and seize ballots or do any other kind of investigative task, they're going to do it. So people should make sure they have their T's crossed and their I's dotted, and then, you know, fight with whatever legal process they have. And the Congress should get involved as well, as I think they will.